this second sort of director's vlog for 232, I thought I'd just talk through what the initial kind of pre-production stage looked like. And I say looked like because we've long past pre-production at the point of filming this. So this is more of sort of a retrospective. So the initial script, I think it was called 4:32 a.m. at a service station. And it was a bit more of a film about two people from, I think it was like two different kind of cultural backgrounds getting to know each other. And through the writing process, I realized, as much as that was kind of partly inspired by a bit of life experience, I felt that that wasn't really as narratively interesting or unique as a film about two lonely people learning how to connect. I thought that was a bit more kind of emotionally resonant. So I sort of pursued that more with the writing from then and just wrote sort of a bunch of drafts, thinking critically about what works, what doesn't work, cutting lines, changing the narrative. And then I started to show it to a few people. And it was interesting because occasionally the notes would completely contradict each other. The thing I've found usually is to go with whichever note best aligns with the purpose behind writing the script. I find particularly since I'm a pretty amateur writer still, getting a second set of eyes and a bunch of different ideas can really help bring out the best in the story. And one thing I found, I used to be a bit more reluctant to feedback and notes, but I think what I've realized is feedback and notes filtered through kind of the vision of the writer actually ends up being really helpful, as long as, you know, the creative ideas, the reason why it's actually an interesting story don't get compromised. That usually ends up working out fine. So that was kind of the writing stage, and that's as much as I'll kind of share about the story and the process behind that, so I don't spoil anything for you guys. So once the script was done, the next step for me was, because I knew I was going to direct this script as well, was how do I want to bring it to life? It's one thing to have hopefully good dialogue, good characters, good themes, but how as a director do I actually want to apply filmmaking and cinema to that? I mean, obviously a lot of those ideas develop as I brought on the crew, instead of almost casting a crew that's really going to benefit the film, which then means I don't have to worry about getting everything perfect myself. I can give people ideas and images and references, but they can actually take the vision and amplify it. But yeah, so one thing I found helpful was to have kind of just a little treatment document type thing that has like visual references, the why behind making the film. I found that that's pretty important. People actually know what kind of film they're making and why we're making it. And ideas for production design, for music, sound, editing, and also just the general kind of crew dynamic I was after. So sort of a small, tight-knit, committed crew. And so the overall kind of aesthetic or approach I was going for was something not too overly complicated or showy or polished, but something that was a bit more simple, understated, kind of raw, using a bit of handheld camera movement, using lighting that was maybe slightly amplifying the location but not being overly stylistic, music that kind of softly comes in and comes out, sound design that immerses people, editing that is all about getting the best out of the performances and making adjustments, maybe cutting lines, holding for longer, getting creative. And a lot of that sounds pretty general when I say it the way I do now, but it gets more specific when I show people references and we have longer conversations and we break things down. But yeah, the general approach from a directing standpoint was also to start kind of distanced and come closer to these characters and create ebb and flow, movement in the blocking, camera movement, something that's dynamic and is not just a conversation, but a mini story as well. So that's writing and directing. Another big part of the initial pre-production was the producing side. So I'm also producing the film, which out of the three is probably my least favorite thing to do, just because there's lots of logistics and organizing, phone calls, all that fun stuff. But yeah, from a producing standpoint, my main responsibility, at least at that point of the pre-production, was to find an actual location. So the original script title was called 2:32 a.m. at a service station. So what that involved from a producing standpoint was I got basically a spreadsheet, a table up of pretty much all of the service stations in sort of driving distance of us. But yeah, I'll talk a bit more about the location process in sort of a few episodes' time. But that would probably be the thing that chewed up the most amount of time was, chasing up, trying to find a location to actually shoot this thing at, call people up, which I'm not really a massive fan of, but it's pretty necessary. And just, I learned a lot of skills from that. Just being able to independently produce, sort of an independently produce a short film. But yeah, this initial kind of phase of pre-production, getting the crew together, getting the vision sorted, and getting the locations actually took quite a lot of time. Mainly just because the locations just took ages to sort out, and looking back, I probably could have done things a little quicker. So that's just a bit of an outline of what it looked like from a writing, directing, and producing standpoint in the kind of initial beginning stages of pre-production. The next episode actually will not just be me talking, which is a breath of fresh air, hopefully, and won't be me in this room as well. It'll be a bit more hands-on, and I won't say too much about it. But yeah, we may actually get to meet a couple crew members and see a bit more of an immersive behind-the-scenes experience. But yeah, look forward to that, and I'll see you guys around next time.